the missing molars, a dark pattern similar to Qiao Renliang's, preservation of body tissue, suspected long-term assassination plot, and the CPC plenary session amidst rumors of 7 high-ranking officials stepping down. Why does the Tui Bei 2 prophecy point to 2029? Hey everyone, before we dive into the video, we want to announce that we're launching a brand new segment called Trace Your Story. For this segment, you can send us a real-life story you've experienced, from horror and cheating to crime or any other true story you have. Send us your story at Sean Varel, traceyourstory@gmail.com, using this format. Email subject, Trace Your Story. Story title, Your Title Here. Tell us your experience in as much detail as possible. Feel free to include any supporting photos or evidence if you have them. Optional contact, your WhatsApp number or another way we can reach you for more information. Don't worry, you can absolutely send your story anonymously if you prefer. We'll do our best to create a video and tell your experience. I'm really looking forward to your emails, and who knows, your story might be the very first one featured on Trace Your Story. Don't forget to submit your stories. I'll be waiting and can't wait to read them. Hey guys, it's Sean Varel, and welcome back to Trace Zero. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're having a great day too. I've really missed you guys, because for the past few weeks, almost a month, I took a break from creating content. I had a few things I needed to take care of, and now everything is finished. I'm really grateful that everything got wrapped up so quickly. Okay. As promised, before my break, today we're going to be talking about the Yu Menglong case again, referencing commentator Li Muyang. That's because so many of you have asked me to translate it. For those of you who are curious and want to see the original content, you can check out and subscribe to the Li Muyang channel. However, since all of his content is in Chinese, that's why many of you have requested that we discuss it once more, but this time in English. Today, we're going to discuss how 3 pieces of good news about Yu Menglong actually triggered a massive backlash. We'll look at how the suspects started to move, issuing denials, and even erasing their tracks. Plus, we'll examine the netizen investigation that uncovered missing teeth and fingernails, which has fueled allegations of long-term torture and even theories about body preservation. The latest evidence suggests that Yu Menglong was subjected to continuous torture for a year, and during that time, the perpetrators were allegedly already preparing to preserve his body as a specimen, like taxidermy. Naturally, netizens have retaliated against the suspect's evil deeds, leading to the uncensored exposure of several perpetrators' identities. On a separate, massive front, the Fourth Plenary Session of the Chinese Communist Party Central Committee is being held behind closed doors. Rumors are swirling that 4 members of the CCP Standing Committee have submitted their resignations, though the people of China may still have to struggle and suffer for another 4 or 5 years. But it doesn't stop there. We're also entering the most sensitive phase, the major political rumors circulating simultaneously with the CCP's Fourth Plenary Session. This includes everything from the alleged resignation of high-ranking officials and internal power struggles to prophecies about the regime's collapse year. This is going to be the darkest and most theory-driven part of the entire series, because you never know how deep this hole goes.
Chinese Communist Party's recent cover-up is
Before we dive into the main topic, I need to emphasize something critically important. All the information presented in this video stems from public opinion, online investigations, netizen, and claims or statements made by various associated parties. While some details may seem to point towards certain allegations or assumptions, as of now, there has been no official confirmation from the relevant authorities. For that reason, the entire content of this video must be treated as public theories, rumors, and speculation. We are discussing this not to establish the truth, but rather to analyze the patterns, look at the inconsistencies or oddities, and understand the evolving dynamics of the information. I have to be extremely careful about how I present this, and I'm sure you all know exactly what I mean. You should also know that the commentator, Li Muyang, has been facing attacks from the Water Army pro-Beijing trolls affiliated with the CCP, and many of his social media accounts have been blocked. Therefore, we absolutely need to be very careful about this. Okay, I'll start with 3 pieces of good news. First off, I want to thank all the friends who have put in the effort. Yumang Long has successfully made it onto the nomination list for the global 100 Most Handsome Faces. What the final ranking will be ultimately depends on the level of global public support for Yumang Long. So, for those of you who have the opportunity, please go and cast your vote. This is also one way we can increase global awareness of Yu Menglong's case. The second piece of good news is that Wu Yaotao's studio released a statement today announcing they have appointed a lawyer to pursue legal accountability against the relevant parties. The reason cited is the presence of a large amount of false information and malicious speculation about Wu Yaotao on the internet. Following the emergence of this public opinion, the organizers of the second season of the Deyang Lanying Music Carnival rejected Wu Yaotao's participation in the event. Similar situations have occurred before with Fan Chi-chi, Jiao Mai-chi, and others. In addition, new films including Fang Li's The Next Typhoon, Jia Yizhe Taifeng, and Tian Hirong's The Spark Hao Zheng, as well as shares from Mango Excellent Media and Tianyu Media, have all been hit with a massive and unprecedented impact. The third piece of news is that the global petition seeking justice for Yu Menglong has surpassed 600,000 signatures.
Chinese Communist Party's recent cover-up is
We still want to thank everyone for their tireless efforts. However, let us emphasize that this is not the end. It is merely one stage of progress. Everyone is still needed to keep pushing forward. In fact, if the server hadn't been down for several hours yesterday, that 650,000 mark would have been surpassed much sooner. This is especially true if you all recall that the internet network worldwide was largely paralyzed some time ago. After the petition page returned to normal, some sharp-eyed friends even discovered that the number of signatories appeared to have dropped by more than 200 people. The exact situation remains unclear at this moment. However, the relentless efforts by the global public to seek justice for Yu Menglong, pursue the truth, and uncover the facts have indeed instilled fear in the CCP and the perpetrators. That is why they continue to launch hysterical and frantic counterattacks. Xiang Hong Mao, also known as Chen King Song, specifically opened a Douyin China's TikTok account and hired someone to manage it, clearly intending to muddy the waters, spread confusion overseas. He claimed he wasn't close to the artist's song, having only met once over a decade ago. He also lied by claiming he never posted on Weibo about delicious food immediately following the deaths of Yu Menglong and Qiao Renliang. Furthermore, he falsely claimed he didn't know Ji Guangguang, nor did he know Yumang Long, among others. I've already shared these matters with everyone before, so we won't be going over them again here. Speaking of Ji Guangguang, he certainly wields considerable influence. Yesterday, I mentioned that a netizen sent a funeral wreath via courier to Ji Guangguang, which he personally signed for. However, Ji Guangguang was furious, or his temper exploded, and immediately filed a complaint, which the authorities subsequently acted upon. A netizen has claimed that all courier companies are now banned from delivering any packages related to Yu Menglong, including complaints or official reports. Apparently, Beijing held a special meeting to issue a notice or an order warning against accepting any such shipments. Any mail that was already in transit is reportedly being returned unusually. It only took one complaint from Ji Guangguang for the Beijing authorities to hold a special meeting and issue a notice, or an order, that banned all courier companies from delivering any packages related to Yu Menglong. If Ji Guangguang were just an ordinary person, seriously, do you think they could trigger such a huge response from the authorities? No way. That's impossible.
Chinese Communist Party's recent cover-up is
先用这种方式给你留言。
A netizen wrote that in their efforts to seek justice for Yumang Long, Chinese web users were practically forced to become Sherlock Holmes. In the process, they investigated TNU and discovered it was actually China's largest state-owned entertainment company, and that the Social Security Fund, pension fund, was one of its shareholders. They then looked into Bulgari and Chihao and found those companies were also 100% state-invested, with the Beijing municipal government fully involved in their investment and construction. Seriously, every time they dig, they unearth a shocker. The netizen continued, the US took down the Prince Group, which was running telecom fraud, and confiscated $15 billion worth of Bitcoin. When netizens investigated that group, they found that the Red Cross of China and the Shanxi government had both partnered and maintained friendly exchanges with them. It's genuinely a case of, you don't know until you look, and once you look, you're utterly confused. Which one is the real criminal syndicate here? How do you even begin to investigate this kind of situation? Regardless of the investigation's outcome, the mainland public remains mobilized and is fighting back. Today, a Russian host was angered and announced that going forward, when performing Kai-A doxing, data exposure, he will no longer censor, mosaic, blur the birth dates. The box's information packets funded by donations will also be updated with this information. Thanks to the Russian host's Kai-A operation, the birth dates and Chinese zodiac signs of several individuals connected to the Yu Menglong case are now clearly visible. Many netizens have expressed tremendous enthusiasm for the Russian host's Kai-A actions. Some have even named suspects and demanded they be Kai-A-D. Essentially, this public exposure of their private information is, on one hand, a form of retaliation, and on the other, a way to force the truth to come out. Also, someone sent an email to commentator Li Muyang suggesting that a large molar at the back of Yu Menglong's mouth had allegedly been extracted a long time ago. A screenshot sent in by a netizen shows that Yu Menglong is indeed missing a large molar on the right side of his lower jaw. Due to the case involving Yu Menglong's torture and murder, someone has dug up some of his old videos. Specifically, a live stream video from December 2024 featuring Yumang Long has recently been rediscovered. At the time of the live stream, Yumang Long was climbing Mount Taitaishan. During the ascent, he did a live broadcast for over an hour to interact with his fans. Netizens who closely studied the footage and zoomed in discovered that the molar on the left side of Yumang Long's lower jaw was already missing at that time. This was reportedly very clearly visible in the visuals. In addition, another netizen uploaded a photo of Yumang Long in a historical costume. Based on the clothing, it is suspected to be a promotional photo from the drama Yi Sinyan Yi Under the Veil of Smoky Rain. In this picture, it is also apparent that the back molar on the left side of his lower jaw is absent. Based on publicly available information, filming for Yi Sinyan began on the 5th of June 2023. The film is scheduled to premiere exclusively on iQIYI on the 18th of December 2024. After analyzing the situation, there are two possibilities for when the ancient costume photos were taken. The first possibility is that these promotional photos were shot midway through the filming process, likely by an insider or someone from the production team. The second possibility is that the photos were specially taken in a studio after the drama's filming wrapped up. However, regardless of when the photos were taken and which of the two possibilities is true, they all point to one conclusion. The time of Yu Menglong's tooth loss must have occurred before the drama's premiere date, which is earlier than the 18th of December 2024. If the photos were indeed taken during the filming period, it means his tooth loss happened much earlier, perhaps even more than a year ago. In 2024, Zhou Pin and Du Qiang co-founded the Tianjin Wuqing Mildewed Orange Company. Since then, Du Qiang has taken over for, or replaced, the assistant Yumang Long. The two of them, Zhou Pin and Du Qiang, took turns looking after Yumang Long. Because of this, we have reason to doubt whether Yumang Long's teeth have been missing since that time. Actually, just a few days ago, someone already posted online and raised some questions, doubts, based on the fact that Yu Menglong frequently appears wearing a mask. Asking why Yu Menglong always wore a mask? At the time, when I saw that post, it just added another question mark in my head, and I didn't think much of it because I didn't know the exact situation. Now, however, we have video and photo evidence suggesting that Yu Menglong might have been forced to wear a mask because of his missing teeth. Yu Menglong is certainly not old. He hasn't even reached the age where teeth naturally loosen and fall out. So, why are his molars, or back teeths, on both sides already gone?
Chinese Communist Party's recent cover-up is
好了，很抱歉用这种方式和你留言。
As noted previously when detailing the Qiao Renliang killing, it's worth highlighting that his molar was also missing. In one photograph, the absence of Qiao Renliang's molar is clearly visible. Additionally, a video exists showing Qiao Renliang eating a cake backstage during a performance intermission. At the time, during the program, the analysis cited from netizens indicated that Qiao Renliang was frequently tortured by malicious individuals even before he was brutally murdered. And Qiao Renliang wasn't very old when he died, so his teeth couldn't have just fallen out for no reason. That's why netizens suspect that someone might have knocked out or forcibly pulled out Qiao Renliang's teeth. According to one online user, the main purpose for removing a body's teeth and nails during the professional preparation of human specimens is to guarantee comprehensive tissue preservation, thereby boosting the quality and long-term stability of the specimen. The user pointed out that this practice looks like a form of slow, drawn-out torture. I checked, and the answer I got from ChatGPT was fully consistent with what that netizen stated. The removal is done to maintain preservation quality, ensure long-term stability, and prevent tissue decay. A few days ago on the show, I mentioned the exhibition items at Beijing's 798 Art Museum. Clothing and shoes allegedly belonging to Qiao Renliang have been found. Specifically, someone photographed a skull or head specimen, and based on the shape of the ears and facial structure, it strongly resembles Qiao Renliang. Subsequently, someone used AI to compare and identify the skull, confirming it belonged to Qiao Renliang. Furthermore, netizens also found a speculated specimen of Wu Seng Chufeng martial monk, but it remains unknown whether Chufeng also suffered tooth loss before his death. Netizens have now discovered that Yu Menglong's teeth have been missing for a long time. Furthermore, there was recent news that those perpetrators also pulled out his fingernails. So, what is the significance of all these suspicious circumstances surrounding Yu Menglong? Does this suggest that those perpetrators had been planning for a long time to torture Yu Menglong to death and then turn him into a specimen? This reasonable suspicion can be justified. There is much more content concerning Yu Menglong, likely referring to the same person, but we can only discuss this much today as we have a more important matter to convey to everyone. We will begin with the Fourth Plenary Session of the Chinese Communist Party Central Committee.
Chinese Communist Party's recent cover-up is
好了，很抱歉用这种方式和你留言。
The fourth plenary session of the CCP Central Committee got underway a few days ago, but it was yet another closed-door meeting. It's exactly the same situation as the third plenum last year. When I was browsing the news online today, I couldn't find any official word at all about the fourth plenum. This is another one of those bizarre situations, which is why the internet is absolutely flooded with all sorts of rumors. Instead of trying to figure out if these rumors are true right now, let's just go through the different versions of the story people are sharing. One major theory holds that Xi Jinping is in absolute command and intends to remain the paramount leader, likely holding on to the chairmanship of the Central Military Commission, well past the 21st National Congress. But there's a counter-narrative. Mr. Jiang Yongzheng, based in Australia, recently amplified a report from the 6th alleging that Li Qiang is set to replace Zhang Yuxia as the CMC's first vice chairman during this fourth plenary session. This report explicitly claims that Li Qiang is being lined up to take the top leadership post at the 21st National Congress in 2027, with Xi Jinping only retaining the CCP Central Military Commission chairmanship while shedding all his other titles. Mr. Jiang also claims that Zhang Shengmin will step into the void left by He Weidong, becoming the second vice chairman of the CMC. Finally, we hear that Zhang Xiaojun will be brought into the CMC to take over as director of the political department, a crucial spot that's been vacant since Miao Hua's purge. Mr. Jiang did not specify the source of his information. His report clearly suggests that Xi Jinping is still firmly in power and the situation will not be turned upside down. However, the other two accounts differ somewhat from Mr. Jiang's information, with one even presenting a completely opposite scenario. Independent commentator Mr. Kai Sheng-kun, citing sources, stated, "The new Central Military Commission, CMC, will reportedly consist of 7 members. Zhang Yuxia is slated to become the chairman of the CPC Central Military Commission, while Hu Chunhua and Lu Zhengli will serve as vice chairman. The CMC members include the current Chinese Minister of National Defense, Dong Jun, the PLA Air Force Commander, Chang Ding-chiu, CMC member and Deputy Secretary of the Disciplinary Commission, Zhang Shengmin, and the Secretary of the CMC Political and Legal Affairs Commission, Wang Renhua. This account clearly signals that Xi Jinping's grip on power is slipping. In the CCP's political ecosystem, the conventional wisdom is often reversed. It's not the party commanding the gun, but the gun commanding the party. Simply put, whoever holds control of the military is the CCP's real leader. Now, looking at this reported lineup, Hu Chunhua is positioned as the first vice chairman of the military commission, and this would signal a resurgence in the power of the Communist Youth League faction, Tuanpai. However, Mr. Kai Sheng-kun relayed the story, but made it clear he did not accept it as true. He suggested that this might be the major political shakeup many people are hoping for, but he believes the reality will likely leave people deeply disappointed. Mr. Kai had previously stated that Xi Jinping's power is absolutely solid, adding that the generals who were taken down were personally purged by him. This is according to news circulating online. It was stated that at the opening ceremony of the Fourth Plenary Session of the 20th Central Committee yesterday, Li Qiang, Kai Chi, Huang Kunming, Wang Huning, Li Shi, Ma Xingrui, and Li Ganjie all submitted their resignations. In fact, this news had already been leaked by several independent media platforms a few days ago, and its content is highly consistent with this report. However, I am unsure whether the sources for both pieces of news are the same. If this report proves to be true, it would mean 7 current Politburo Standing Committee members. Only Xi Jinping, Zhao Leiji, and Ding Shuxiang would remain. This situation would signify that Xi Jinping's power has been completely lost, has truly slipped away. To use a Chinese saying, this is a classic case of when the tree falls, the monkeys scatter shu da wu sin scent. The resignations of people like Li Qiang and Kai Chi are likely a sign that they've read the writing on the wall and are choosing to step down voluntarily to protect themselves. This also suggests that even if Xi Jinping doesn't step down at the Fourth Plenary Session, and even if he still holds his 3 major titles, he's basically just propping up a performance on the stage. Of course, there are plenty of other rumors circulating online, mostly boiling down to the same questions. Will Xi Jinping step down or not? Is his grip on power secure? Since all of this is just hearsay, speculation, and analysis, not official announcements, we won't waste any more of your time on it here. Frankly, things are really heating up right now, with all sorts of rumors and news flying around everywhere. The root cause is that the Chinese Communist Party has always operated like a black box. It's completely non-transparent. This environment is the perfect breeding ground for all sorts of internet rumors. But what needs to be pointed out is this. These rumors emerge because of 2 key conditions. One is the analysis and conjecture of netizens themselves, who are simply drawing conclusions and making educated guesses based on the various existing phenomena. The other condition involves different factions, borrowing a boat to sail out to sea, Ye Chuanchu, in order to deliberately spread information overseas. Among all this, there are even predictions that are touted as being way out in front or leading by a wide margin, Yao Yao Lengxian. In reality, will Xi Jinping step down or not? Will he relinquish power? Will the power structure of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, undergo any changes? If so, how significant will those changes be? Actually, we don't have to wait long. The fourth plenary session of the CCP is wrapping up the day after tomorrow, the 23rd. We should see some official statements or news surface around that time. The point I want to make is this: whether Xi Jinping continues to hold power or is driven out, and regardless of who governs in the future, as long as the Chinese Communist Party's rule is maintained, China will not improve. If Xi Jinping retains power, the outcome will be continuous turmoil and disruption, essentially keeping up the struggle until the CCP completely collapses. If the leadership changes, but the new person continues the CCP's rule, China still won't get better. The result will be the same. However, when it comes to the CCP's ultimate fate, it was actually sealed a long time ago. I've said that before, but I'm bringing it up again today because I want to quote Miss Zhu from Mojiang, who has analyzed the ancient Chinese prophecy, the Tui Bei Tu. She claims the CCP will be destroyed in 2029. Miss Zhu of Mojiang, who also made a prophecy about Taiwan's demise, recently watched commentator Li Muyang's News Highlights channel. I don't know if Miss Mo's analysis is accurate. I just find her interpretation quite interesting, especially since it clearly pinpoints the year of the CCP's collapse. So, I wanted to share it with all of you. If you don't believe it, feel free to just listen to it as a story.
Chinese Communist Party's recent cover-up is
好的，很抱歉用这种方式和你留言。
According to Miss Mo, the interpretation of the Tui Bei Tu prophecy took an awfully long time. She's been studying it since the start of the pandemic. That works out to be at least 5 years. It was only this March that she finally felt she had managed to successfully decipher it. Miss Mo stated that she was able to reconstruct the entire timeline, covering the period from when the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, seized power until its eventual dissolution. She examined certain sections in detail while broadly analyzing others. By cross-referencing and validating these points, the overall framework or big picture finally emerged. Miss Mo stated that multiple independent calculations consistently pointed to the same year for the collapse of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, regime 2029. She began her interpretation with the Fugua supplementary hexagram, which is represented by the image of a great tiger. Based on this hexagram, she successfully deciphered the following 5 key points. 1. The substantial U. S. China tariff, knife, implying a major policy or hike is likely to be implemented during the Dongzhi period, winter solstice. This year's Dongzhi runs from the 21st of December 2025 to the 6th of January 2026. This signals that both the US and China will likely engage in 7 rounds of negotiations, or meetings. Assuming the initial tariff announcement by Trump in early April was the first consultation, the decision scheduled for the winter solstice will mark the 7th and final one. Therefore, the US and China have just one more consultation to go before January 6th, and following that, all talks will cease. Secondly, the Chinese people's resistance against the CCP regime will begin to solidify around the winter solstice. She believes that a major wave of uprising will erupt after the second Lichun, start of spring, in the year of the snake, which is after the 4th of February 2026. At that point, Xi Jinping's orders may no longer be smoothly executed or followed. Disorder will emerge in various localities. It is even possible that the Great Firewall will crumble. Thirdly, she referred to a principle. If the Chinese people uphold the Zhengdao, way of righteousness, and keep the Tiandao, law of heaven, in their hearts, heaven will descend to assist them. Under those circumstances, overthrowing the CCP government will not be considered a transgression. This aligns with the I Ching Book of Changes, which states, "The firmness, rectitude, and centrality of virtue occupy the correct position, and the resulting action is bright and shining." Fourthly, she mentioned that Xi Jinping is deeply suspicious that those beneath him are disloyal. As a result, he is targeting those he believes are betraying him. This situation aligns with the metaphor of the first line of the Tian Huo Tong Ren Heaven and Fire hexagram from the I Ching. The symbolism between the fourth and fifth lines of this hexagram is said to point to the intense, high-level internal struggle during the dragon and serpent years of 2024-2025. The official announcement a few days ago regarding the downfall of 9 top CCP generals confirms the prophecy of the first line of Tong Ren. The US and Taiwan are likely to form an alliance, with new cooperation kicking off around the autumn equinox. This timing aligns with the 50-50 proposal mentioned by Howard Lutnick, the supposed US Treasury Secretary, or other high-level official. This effort will ultimately succeed in the spring, specifically after the 4th of February 2026, which marks the traditional start of spring. The US will likely sign a security-type pact with Taiwan and send warships to defend the Taiwan Strait. Ms. Mo has given us a very detailed analysis, complete with specific dates and timelines. For this reason, I strongly encourage you to pay close attention and monitor these developments. On a separate note, concerning the period around May, someone from mainland China recently used a 200-megapixel camera to capture the clearest photograph yet of the hidden character stone, Kangzi Shi. Behind the 6 prominent characters, Zhonggong Chen Dongwang, the Chinese Communist Party perishes, falls, there's a row of very small Arabic numerals. After careful reasoning and analysis, this person suggests that these numbers are most likely 2029. This would mean that the CCP is destined to fall in the year 2029, a timeline which perfectly aligns with Ms. Mo's own deductions and calculations. Now, if this turns out to be true, it means the people of China will still have to wait and endure for another 4 or 5 years. If we look at the entire chain of information, speculation, theories, and public reaction that has emerged, one thing is clear. The Yumang Long case is no longer just a criminal matter or a simple case of the celebrity's mysterious death. It is transformed into a major phenomenon touching on numerous sectors from the entertainment industry, social media, and major corporations, all the way to high-level political rumors. What makes the whole thing even more complicated is the sheer number of gaps, irregularities, and things that have never been officially explained. Because of this, the public is attempting to connect the small fragments of information available. And that is precisely where the various theories and speculations begin to take root and grow. There is one quote from Martin Luther King Jr. that feels incredibly relevant to what we are currently seeing. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And it feels like that statement perfectly describes how the public is starting to mobilize, beginning to speak out, and refusing to stay silent. Admittedly, we cannot claim to say what is right and what is wrong. But we also cannot turn a blind eye when so many similar patterns begin to emerge. As always, our job is not to decide the ultimate truth, but to try and understand the bigger picture. What do you all think? Are all the details we're seeing today merely coincidence? Or is there something much bigger that has yet to be revealed? Share your thoughts, because in cases like this, the voice of the public is often more honest than the official narrative. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and thank you also for your patience while waiting for the next developments in this case. If you feel this video opened up a new perspective, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because I can't wait to see you all again. And if you're still watching this, maybe you're looking for the same thing I am. I'm Sean Varell. See you in the next video.